Alright, I had to show this because when we found this guy, we had a really hard time finding anything online involving bone cancer in animals. You can find stuff with humans, and there are some pictures, but nothing even remotely like this poor son of a bitch. So this pig, this boar skull, was found in Waimea Canyon underneath the rock, all curled up from natural causes. Unbelievably from natural causes too. It was quite remarkable that this thing survived long enough with this kind of damage. And I have yet to really understand fully why these animals in nature around here, and I found this several times now, are suffering such severe levels of bone cancer. And you see this popcorn growth. This guy lost his main tooth here very early on, you can tell, because there's really no wear on the upper scissor tooth. They tend to use these two teeth in conjunction, and I pardon, this one's out a little farther than naturally, but they use these two in conjunction to scissor through things and sharpen. They will sit there and grind. Matter of fact, if you ever have a trapped pig, they'll grind their teeth, and that's one of the things they're doing, is sharpening that. And so this cancer extended all the way up into the back of the eye socket. You can see how it started to crawl up and in there. I'll take this off, and you can see, yeah, there's an extension of the cancer starting on the upper palate, just a little bit in the upper palate. Probably started to constrict his throat a little bit, and was working even back into the joint of the back of the neck. It was probably kind of hard for him to keep his head up at that point. And it was so bad, you can see on the teeth here, that the tartar buildup was severe. There was no grinding on this side. So those teeth are in really good condition, as were these teeth were ground down to practically nothing. That was the only side he could chew on. And boars have the unfortunate life of developing really severe cavities in those pockets and pits. And if you know what a kukui nut is, or a candle nut, they have a very sharp, hard shell to them. It's one of the foods that they have to eat, and one of the foods that they fed the Polynesian pigs when they brought them over, because it's a good food source, but they're in these incredibly hard, sharp shells. And that's one of the things that they crunch down the most, especially in arid places like in Waimea Canyon. So you can see this poor guy, just only one side of his mouth he could eat from the whole time. Meanwhile, this lower palate had practically dissolved. You know, I had a friend a long time ago who suffered this type of bone cancer, and basically said, you know, his legs were popcorn if you could see him in an x-ray. And this is what he means. I had no idea really until I actually saw it firsthand. Horrible. All the way into the inside. It probably caused his tongue to bulge out. And the other wild thing about this guy, the forensics of him, is if you notice right here on his nose, he's got a wicked nick right across his nose that then healed. And I have to believe, because of the terrain that he was in, that he must have caught a rock on the face one time. Because there's a lot of rockfall danger in this specific area where this guy was found. And so you see this whole knock on the nose of broken bone, and yet it healed. So this poor guy not only suffered from this tragic bone cancer, I mean, look at that. It just, those teeth probably fell out when he was a kid. And then you see the two different wear on both sides of his teeth. Oh, I just had a gecko jump out of his skull. Oh, sorry, buddy. And you can see it even going up into his eye socket just before it died. So anyway, I wanted to show this. We find a lot of cool dead things, and this is definitely one of the biggest, most anomalous pieces we've ever found. And when I looked online and I couldn't find anything like this, I thought, well, other people might want to know too. So I hope this was informative to anybody who is interested or at least macabrely morbid for those who just like fascinating over medical oddities, because this is a wild animal in a pristine area that suffered severe bone cancer of the jaw. All right, aloha.